tush push a little bit, kind of on the topic of cornerbacks a little bit, but all of the talk about the tush push and whether or not it is fair, I don't really think I have a novel opinion about it, obviously, but from what I've kind of gained from other people's opinions about it, I feel like mine is pretty standard. fashion